Welcome, 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 my friends. Welcome to episode 17 of Filling the Void, entitled Acting in the Northwest, What's a Happening? I am your host, Ben Andrews, and thank you again for joining us. I think for the first few episodes, we always talked about why we were doing Filling the Void. I don't think we need to do that anymore because we all know the world has changed, and particularly as artists, whether you are filmmakers or actors, singers, the world seems to be changing for us also. So today we're focusing on acting, of course. We're happy that you joined us, and it's now my pleasure to bring in two of our guests, David Hogan and Terri Morgan. So as Todd is bringing them in, we have our third guest scheduled, Jodi Rothfield, but she had some callbacks today. So
I'll send you the link.
We did a little pre-episode
live on YouTube right now.
So we will take a look at that in a second. David, Terri.
Hi.
Hey guys, welcome.
Hi. Thanks.
So why don't we just start with some interviews, Terri, or some introductions. Terri, let's start with you.
Okay, I'm Terri Morgan. I'm the owner and director of TCM Models and Talent. We've been in business since 1979, and as you guys both know, I started when I was 8. So that makes it all perfect. I'm under 50. We are a full-service model and talent agency, and we've been active in the Seattle market for well over 35 years, and have a full staff of 6 of us, including myself. We have a downtown office and on-site casting if needed, and really great commercial.
Oh no. She's really good at pausing for emphasis. It really makes her point.
Thinking about this, what she's about to say here.
Oh no, that Zoom, it always gets you. Well, while Terri is thinking about her thought, why don't we transition right over to you, David?
And this is why we love Zoom. And just imagine if this was a Zoom audition or like a callback, you'd be killing it right now with all that freezing. My name is David Hogan. I am the co-founder of Mighty Tripod Productions and Mighty Tripod Acting Studio. My better half, Angela DeMarco, and I run the show. I am here at the studio in Georgetown, in the Georgetown neighborhood, Seattle, Washington. I also have a actor headshot business called Seattle Actor Photos, and I am an actor. I've been doing the acting thing for about 20 years. Graduated from Seattle U, hit the boards, did a ton of theater. About 10 years ago, I switched to the on-camera thing, and I've been loving it ever since.
Did you start when you were 8 too, David?
You know, when I was 8, I don't know what the heck I was doing when I was 8. I was probably just doing dumb kid stuff and playing with Star Wars figures. I didn't really do the acting thing until, how much time do you have? I took a terrible acting class in high school. Like the high school acting class was a complete bummer. And I kind of stumbled into it in college, first singing in choir and then doing a bit of theater.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Terri, you paused in deep thought, and you stayed there for like 20 seconds. So we moved on.
I see that.
But we want to get back to where you cut out was, I assume, right near the end. You told us that you had 6 staff members and you were downtown. What else? What did we miss?
Well, I think what I said after that was we have a theatrical agent and we have a commercial talent agent, as well as the other side of our business, which is the fitness model, fit model, fashion, all of that stuff.
Very
so
cool.
I think that's what I said.
Well, let's dive right in. We got Jodi. We did a pre-interview with Jodi. It's about 6 minutes, and let's watch that. And then she talks about some cool things, and we'll launch right from her interview. Todd, at your convenience. Hello, everybody. I am here with Jodi Rothfield from Jodi Rothfield Casting, one of Seattle's top casting directors. How are you doing today, Jodi?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank you so much for taking a moment to chat with us.
Pleasure.
And how are things in your life, just in general?
Good, we're all healthy. Somehow we've avoided being sick, which is wonderful. and all safe and sound. I have those wishes for people around me, which I know is a difficult task.
Just curious, since quarantine, some of this is obvious, but how has your work been impacted?
Well, my last job was March 13th until July, and then July picked up quite a bit. So we have been quite busy in July and have already started on being busy in August. But the format has changed. I'm not having people in studio. We're doing self-tapes for the original audition and then Zoom callbacks. So it's a very different dynamic. And for the actor, there are other things for them to consider now when they audition.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a different quality. Certain things play on self-tapes that you don't need to think about in an in-person audition. But I don't think we're going to have in-person auditions maybe till after the first of the year, but I don't know.
Wow. Now, how long have you been a casting director?
Since 1987, I started in Los Angeles and then moved up here right before in 1989 to be with my husband, who's a Washington native, and I never let him forget that I gave up LA for a year. But now I'm here and I've been here for a long time, so this is my home.
What's your prediction of what this is going to look like over the next few months?
Well, a lot of it will have to do with whether Washington State stays open to shoot, because when there was quite a bit of work going on while I was down, because people that wanted to shoot went to states that weren't closed, and there were plenty of them. So I knew people in other states that were very busy and continued to be busy. And then I understand that Microsoft was doing a lot of shooting during March, April, May, and June. So they figured out a way, I guess, to do it safely. And I wasn't part of that, but now I'm fielding the call. So I guess people are back in action. I don't know how long it's going to last in terms of the no in-person auditions. The studio that I have now has AC, so there's no flow of air. So I really don't feel comfortable having people in there. So until this whole thing changes, I will not be doing in-person auditions. And hopefully we'll stay busy and Washington won't shut down, and then this will suffice. My clients are all very comfortable with the Zooming and the self-tapes, which for them is very tedious. But somehow they're able to get through it, so that's good news for actors. The thing that this brings up for me, Ben, is that unfortunately, and this has come up many times way before COVID, self-tapes is kind of like the trend anyway. Mm-hmm. And I find that most actors, especially in our market, just don't know how to do a good self-tape. So I don't offer a class, but there are several wonderful how to self-tape classes, and I really suggest them or go online, because I think that even CSA, which is Casting Society of America, which only some of us are, I am a member of that organization, they have a self-tape seminar if you go to the CSA, Casting Society of America website. But it's really affecting people's ability to be hired, because the people who have a more professional tape surely are easier for the client to watch. And it's not like a Zoom first call where I'm able to Zoom with you for your audition and tell you to do this, do that, some tweak it like I normally do in an in-person audition. So I'm really flabbergasted by the lack of quality of the self-tapes. And I think it's going to affect, especially since self-tapes are the way to go definitely now, and they were the trend anyway. I think that's something that the acting community needs to be very aware of, is that you really can't get away with no backdrop, using the bathroom, talking into a mirror, not having good sound, all the things that unfortunately usually when I have people in person, my studio is set up for that. But mm-hmm. most people don't have that. The equipment or the sound or whatever. So I totally understand that. But there are some very simple things that actors can do to enhance their self-taping that they need to be aware of. And the agents know. So talk to your agent.
For new actors in the area, or just new actors in general who are trying to get on your radar, is that a submission process? How does that look?
Yeah, we're very actor friendly at my place. The royal we, me. Send your picture and resume in. And these days, I'm not at the office, physical office, and I don't even know if I'm going to have an office much longer, because it seems silly to have an overhead, but we'll see. Email your picture and resume. Make sure on your resume there's an email address and a phone number. I'm at jodirothfield@gmail.com, and I've always welcomed pictures and resumes. It's my job not to always call on the same actors. It's my job to go to lots of theater, which now I can't do, and to scout, and I teach at UW grad school, and I teach at Cornish, so I have my hands all over, my eyes are everywhere, but now I don't have that. So sending me a picture and resume was always okay, and now via email, I used to like a hard copy, but now via email, it seems appropriate. Never be afraid to send your stuff out. That's your calling card, and I'm happy to receive it. And then you're on my radar.
And all kinds of good morsels in that one. All right. So for the full interview, that's like a 14-minute interview. You only saw like 5 minutes of it, but there's lots of good information in there. I'm going to upload that to Filling the Void tonight. So please go check that out. Jodi is always a wealth of knowledge. So there's two big questions that are forefront in my brain, which is, do we dive into self-tapes or do we dive into the state of the workflow right now in the state? This is your guys' call.
I think they go hand in hand, like you're saying, Ben. It is a matter of the work it starts with the self-taping, in my opinion. I mean, there's work available, but how you get it is probably the key to any actor's position right now. And as Jodi pointed out, how important self-tapes are, and knowing how to do it and how to label it and how to put it together. And we all know how much we've been talking about talent being able to do really good self-tapes. And I, as an agent, have been encouraging people to take classes for a long time in order to get better at it. And now it's like they have no choice. So those that have been dragging their heels and thinking, well, I'll get around to it, are going to find themselves at the back of the pack. And we've been stressing it from the get-go, especially since mid-March when everything kind of shut down. It was like, there's nothing going on right now. So what you need to do is, build your resume, take some classes, online classes, learn to be better at your craft, and reach out to people like David that have great classes to sign up for virtually. And I think Mighty Tripod's done a wonderful job, David, of adapting to that new set of skills that you can do what you do well on a Zoom class or whatever virtually.
Thanks, Terri. I really appreciate that. We have been teaching our Self-Tape Academy online since March. So since, the crap hit the fan, we've moved our education online. And, I've been putting myself on tape since I think 2012. My first self-tape was sent in for The River Murders, which was a North by Northwest production. It was my first time self-taping for Nikkei. I think I did it in my backyard with my friend Brandon Petty, and it was a complete cluster. I mean, I didn't know what to do. But look, this was 2012, my people. It is 2020 now. If you're not a self-tape ninja today, you need to take our academy. Now, we've had our acting studio. We've had something similar to this for over 5 years. And we've been putting actors on tape professionally in Seattle. Clients from Atlanta, from LA, they come to us because we create amazing self-tapes. But the Seattle region, the Seattle market has always been a little bit behind when it comes to catching up with industry trends for whatever reason. And there's been a lot of pushback about self-tape. And even at the Film Summit last year, there was a casting director talking about how much she hated self-tapes, okay? And maybe that was more a commentary on the actors who couldn't produce really amazing tapes, but y'all, it's changed. Things are really different. Actors used to be able to go into casting director studios and they would, the casting directors put together the tape, and then casting directors in the area, they start to, there's closures. Steven Salimonovich is gone. Amy Renee is gone. Now it's up to the actor to put together not only stellar acting with great choices, which means you better know how to act for the camera, but you have to be technically savvy. You have to know how to get lights. You have to make sure your audio sounds good. You have to have a neutral backdrop. There's so many technical things that you have to now master as an actor. So it's not only about being a really, really good actor, but you have to be really good at the technical aspects of this business, which is so important and crucial. And I can tell you that our education and what we're able to do with our Self-Tape Academy is that I'm working with technological Luddites. I'm working with actors who are well into their 70s and 80s, and I am teaching them how to put themselves on tape, upload their tapes to YouTube, and use file transfer services like WeTransfer. And I am so blessed that we have our health and that we have a new studio in Georgetown, and that we can use the Zoom platform to teach as many actors as we can right now, whether through private consultation or through the Self-Tape Academy, about what it means to self-tape. And last week, we started a brand new course all about using the Zoom platform for auditions and callbacks, because that is a whole nother beast. I've done a few callbacks through Zoom. I find it horrific. I think it's exceptionally difficult. Most people, when they're on the Zoom platform, I mean, this is a weird way to communicate, y'all. Acting works best when you are with other human beings, because that's what it is. Acting is connection. Acting is being with people. Acting is storytelling. So this whole digital Zoom platform, it's very difficult. And again, if you don't have a reliable place where your internet is strong, because y'all, on that Zoom meeting, if your internet is bogus and suddenly you start right, we can't hear you, it blows the audition. It's terrible, y'all. It is so, there's these other things that are getting in the way. So it is a very, very challenging time, but stay focused, keep training. We're going to get through this. There will be a vaccination and things will slowly return to normal. But right now we have to kind of just do the best we can until we can all be in the same room together.
So there's a whole lot about what you just said. First of all, I'm going to say, preach, Brother Hogan, preach. Second, I still want to say preach. That's what I wanted. What brand of coffee do you drink? Because I need that coffee. But yes.
Well,
Ben, it's not the coffee, it's the camera. All he needs is a camera.
So,
put it in front of him.
Right?
Yeah, back just a little bit to unpack from what everything David said is like, I mean, amazing and awesome and so spot on. And Jodi and any other casting director that gets horrible looking self tapes and these interviews that are going through Zoom and the callbacks, it is painful if they're not done well. And so you already are in a situation where you're in competition with other people, and then you don't give them your best product. You've already got one foot out the door before you even start. You could be the best actor for the job. The other part to what David was saying is that at this time we're super encouraging actors to be setting up some kind of an area where they can have just a white drape that they can pull across and have good lighting there, and then teach their significant other in the room to work a camera. Not everybody's got a tripod at this stage of the game to set up, and a remote and all that to start it. I mean, we did, as an agency, we would have people come in and we would help them with that sort of thing. And because of COVID, we just can't. So it is, it's necessary for everyone to use all of their resources that they have, along with the skills that they learned from taking a class, and then help having the people at home, because we're all supposed to be working as much from home as possible, but have that person or another actor or someone that you're comfortable with that's there to engage and help you to film these things, because they're essential. And this is the way it's going to be, like David said, until there's a vaccine. Jodi's not going to have anybody come in, and the other casting directors in the market are doing the same thing. With both our Seattle markets and our Portland markets, everything is being cast virtually. We've had maybe one that I can think of in studio callback because the directors wanted to see the talent in person. It's the way it's going to be for several months ahead, and we can't just close our eyes and think, okay, it's going to be back to what it was pre-March 15. Well, it's just not. It's just not, and we have to adapt to it. And this is the adaptation. And as an agent, doggone it, people, get on the playing field here, because you as much as you want to wish it away, it's just not going to go away. And we're all struggling to make ends meet, to get the jobs that we can, to be prepared, and to have the people that are capable of doing these sorts of things make everybody else's job easier. And I think that's the biggest job of an actor, is that once everybody else has done their job, the actor has to show up on set in the audition, do what they do best to make everybody else's job easier, rather than coaching, helping, that sort of thing. It's your job to get the job and to perform once you have it.
So would you like to speak, David?
Yeah, I just think that, yeah, thank Terry. That's awesome. I love everything that you're talking about. And I think that one thing that we also need to know and understand and accept is that actors are notoriously underemployed and broke, right? So, and right now during this economic crisis, actors don't wait until you have an audition to practice self-taping. If you can't afford to be in an acting class, you know, we have Mighty Tripod Acting Studio has a YouTube channel with free videos that talk about some of the technical aspects of putting yourself on tape. Everybody and their mother are talking about self-taping and writing about it and blogging about it. There are free resources all over the place. So start practicing, figure out, where am I going to do my self-tapes? What room, what camera am I going to use? Do I have a neutral backdrop? How do I stabilize my camera? And then just start practicing. Grab some commercial copy off the internet, work on memorizing, get yourself on tape, practice putting it on YouTube, practice sending it through WeTransfer, doing all these things. Obviously, I'll take your money. Come take my class, hire me to do private coaching. That's what I absolutely am super passionate about. And Angela feels the exact same way. We want to educate all the actors, whether they're 6 or 80. We want to work with them, but if the finances aren't there, just practice. You probably have a smartphone, and a smartphone is really all you need as far as like the video capturing of your audition.
And along that same lines, David, 1 second, sorry, Ben. As agents, we're not as busy as we normally are this time of year. And if you want to send in your practicing tapes to your agent and ask, you know, their opinion, we have time. Sadly, we have time to answer those questions and to help you improve on what you're doing. If it's the sound in the room, if it's the backdrop that you're using, if it's the lighting, we can help to adjust all of that. So, and we're happy to do that, because the more successful you are, the more successful we are.
Yeah, you read my mind, Terry. That was a question. I'm just going straight to the YouTube chat here because this episode is for actors. So let's just ask their questions. And you answered the critique of self-taping. You can't do it with Zoom. But David, do you have anything where actors can send you their self-tapes and you can offer critiques or review?
Yeah, I mean, I have an hourly rate. But yeah, totally. I work with actors on any budget for any kind of reason. So certainly you can either go to our website or just email me directly, which is david@mightytripod.com. And we can just chat and try to make something work. You know, I want to work with actors. I want to help you. So if finances are a concern, let's just have a conversation.
What about lighting? As far as there's a question in the chat from Dave, what lights do you recommend for self-tapes?
The lights that flatter you the most. There's a bazillion different kinds of lights. I would say the ones that my clients have the most success with are softbox lights, like a 2-light kit from a local online retailer that I will not name because you know who they are. You can get it for like $100. I did a product test on our YouTube channel, Mighty Tripod Acting Studio, and that'll talk to you. I also tested a ring light. Ring lights are good too, but I like a 2-light setup. Yeah.
So I actually had my first Zoom call back today, and David, you've had a few. You mentioned, and it was. I mean, it's completely different experience for those that have not had that experience yet. What's your biggest input about technically how to do it? Like, do you have a piece of paper that says, hey, you should have 25 megabyte upload speed and you should have this light? And do you have anything like that you guys have organized?
Well, you want to make sure you've tested Zoom before you actually do your callback, because your internet speed does matter. If at all possible, try to hardwire from your modem to your computer, because if you run through an Ethernet like Cat5 or Cat6, that's going to be a stronger connection than Wi-Fi, so that'll help. As far as like light, yeah, if you're already self-taping and you have kind of a setup, try to use that same space. The challenge is, are you Zooming on your laptop, on your phone, on your iPad? What are those things called? Tablet, right? You got to get that thing, especially because you might want to stand, right? If you want to stand up for your audition, remember y'all, when we go into a casting director, we're standing. Rarely is there a seat and I'm like, I'm going to sit down and be comfortable and relax with this. No, usually you're standing on a mark, right? If you're using a device like a laptop, laptops aren't usually like eye level. They're usually on an eye level where you're sitting. But a lot of times in my callbacks, I want to be standing up. So I have to figure out, well, how am I going to make that happen? And then the other thing I would say is, at least for me personally, whenever I'm on Zoom, I tend to use a voice that is just too loud. It's because of this weird communication thing. So make sure that when you're rehearsing your thing, you're doing it in that, usually the conversational tone, especially for commercial kind of stuff. They don't want like a big booming voice. So they're, oh my God, what are they doing? Theater? They're doing the theater thing. Like, you don't need to project to the back of the room. You don't need to project through the computer all the way to the internet and right? So just use a conversational volume that's appropriate for the circumstances and the setting of that scene, and make sure you stay in that lane and manage your nerves, because it's going to be weird. And I know that when I get nervous, I tend to get a bit excited, even though Ben thinks it's coffee. It's probably just nervous energy that makes me kind of fired up and talk really fast. So I would say volume's a big thing. Test your internet, do a test run, start Zooming right now, find the space in your house, make sure that that space with the good light and the good backdrop, that you can get good Wi-Fi in there or connect. I mean, I have two 100-foot Cat6 cables, which are my Ethernet, because I'm doing all kinds of teleconferencing from home. But my modem's in the living room and my computer's in the other room. So it's, adapting. That's what I would suggest, though.
Yeah, and
Great.
just for everybody who is, resistant to or haven't learned about lighting and sound and all these things, I just want to let you know they came up with this thing recently. It's called YouTube, and there's a few videos on there that will tell you exactly what to do. I mean, down to the microscopic placement of these lights. So I encourage people to kind of, surf through YouTube also.
You can Google just about anything and get information. And it will send you, like you said, to YouTube or wherever. It's shocking how much information is out there.
So Terri, I'm curious, because I'm a little, I know that we're one of these states that's allowed to go back to work now. And I assume from the production side, that means different types of insurance, different types of contracts. Do you speak to is there adjustments in the contracts with actors or safety precautions?
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of that. And that's just a part of what's going to be happening is a lot of COVID rules. So most productions will have sent out already so that the talent is all aware of what's going to happen when they get to set in regards to temperature taking. They've got to fill out a form that states whether they have been in the state, for how long, or if they've traveled anyplace else, if they are exhibiting any signs of fever or cough, if they've been around anybody that's had COVID. And then they have to make sure that everyone must, come on set with their masks. We just got some cute little masks for our talent and models that if you haven't picked up one, we'll be happy to pop it in the mail, because we're not doing any in-office meetings per se yet. And we just have to make sure that, you follow those rules when you go on the shoots, and the clients are sending those out to us prior to, so that the models and the actors are all aware that this is what's going to happen when they get there. We're also, on occasion, putting people on hold as backups, just in case that one person that's booked does come down with something. so that production is not going to halt because the person that they had available isn't going to be available. And everybody's been really, really great about this. You know, typically if you're put on hold for something and you're not booked within, 24 hours, you are supposed to get paid for it. But this is a rule that I think everyone is just kind of letting go and understanding that this is, where we are at in life, and they're making themselves available and not putting up a stink about, well, I'm not going to hold that whole day unless they're going to confirm me. It's like, no, I get it. And I will be happy to, take that person's place if they don't show up. So there's just a lot of different things like that. And then I also saw, and I don't know if you guys saw this today, but was posted on one of the Facebook pages for production, where there's a class that people that are producers, photographers, etc., can get COVID clearance. So they're the ones that would go on set and make sure that everything was set up properly, everything was sanitized properly, etc. And I think anybody in our industry that is, setting up a production of any sort should look into doing this, because I think it's super, super important that we have those restrictions. And that way, I mean, bookings are starting up, like Jodi said earlier, and it's been awesome. But we have had a few, talents that have said, I'm not comfortable, just period. I know that everybody's taking all the steps, but I'm not comfortable based on who I live with and who I'm around and that sort of thing. They're just not going to take the job. So even though we make it as COVID sensitive as we possibly can, it's still, there's nothing perfect. This is not going to be perfect yet.
So on this next question, all these industries, I think all of them actually, not just artistic industries, are having to adapt, and the society is shifting. And so we see an industry that has to kind of reinvent itself. I'm wondering if either of you have put thought into how this industry, how acting may shift and transform in the next few months to a year. And as we've all mentioned, things might not be going back ever. I mean, they'll go back in a similar way, but it's going to be changed forever. And I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts about what you think the future might look like. And this is obviously we're future casting here, so
yeah.
Right or wrong.
Yeah. I don't know, Ben. It's really, really hard to determine. And I think that a lot of our industry has figured out that obviously they can work from home. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to change kind of the face of how things are being done. From a booking standpoint, if we've got somebody that is being booked for, not talking about film, but let's just say for a commercial or something like that, they're looking for people that live together. We just did a big job, and it was, casting our talent with their partner, whoever it was that they lived with, or it was a family that all lived together. So everybody is, wanting to do these wonderful, what we would used to cast a dad and 3 kids, and they could all have, different people, but they're really wanting real families. They're really wanting that people that are existing in the same household are participating in. So, but moving forward, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. I think that we're in an industry that, yeah, I think some things will change, but I also think, I don't know how you can act 6 feet apart from somebody else all the time. I think that there's going to be a place where the adjustments are going to have to be made. COVID testing before you get on set. I think it's going to be more, the more we get more tests involved. Before you actually show up every day or whatever, you're going to need to be tested so that we can move forward. Television shows and movies have all been put on hold because they can't have a lot of people that don't cohabitate on set together. And I think they're going to come up with some ways to make that happen. But until they do, we're going to probably see, single people shot separately, put together Fortunately, we've got the technology that can maybe make some of that stuff happen. But as David said earlier, acting is with people. It is playing off of somebody else. And that to me seems to be kind of hard.
What about you, Dave?
Yeah, I would, I think there's going to be an adjustment as far as what kind of stories are able to be told during this time. The amount of rules that need to be followed for the health and safety of everyone on a SAG-AFTRA set, I think that is increasing budgets. And I just think that the stories that are able to be told are going to be different until things are back to normal. And from getting outside of the on-camera industry, I would imagine that a lot of smaller theaters who can't do anything right now to generate much income because you need butts in seats, I think those kind of folks are going to have a hard time. I think that this is a crisis that this year, as we all know, is not just about the coronavirus. There are so many things that are compounding the epic scale of this problem that is not only facing actors and people in the entertainment industry, but the whole world. So I don't really know what the future holds, but as someone who really likes acting, but likes working with actors, possibly even more, this is a time to study, even if it's on your own. If you're, like I was mentioning earlier, practicing self-taping, reading an acting book or two, and learning about the power of creative writing. I think that right now is a great time, and we're offering a class right now on screenwriting. The DIY movement and learning how to tell your own stories, and actors that must also be producers, that kind of trend has been around for a while, but now is a great time to start thinking about, well, if I have the chance to put myself in my own short film, what kind of story do I want to tell? Because you don't really need a lot of money to do that. You just need a lot of energy and drive.
Absolutely. You speak to something, I'm going to call it the elephant in the room, but it's not really the elephant in the room. It's difficult enough to be an actor, no matter what type of an actor you are. It's difficult in LA, it's difficult here. And now we have this compounding problem that is, COVID in the world and the nation right now. And it's hard, especially as actors, because we feel a lot more. That's our job, is to feel, absorb. And now we don't want to feel, but we're in this little hiatus as the industry is trying to figure out where it's going. And emotional health is very, very important. But speaking to your point, David, it's not just the craft. I feel like I am weak sometimes in the business of acting. And I think that's where a lot of Northwestern actors are weak, is that we don't really embrace the business side of it. We don't have a business plan on our acting. And I'm just wondering your thoughts outside of the craft. Is this an opportunity for actors to kind of wrap their brains around how to accelerate their career and learn the business side?
Sure. I think this is a great opportunity to think more about this as a business. It's the old cliche that my acting teacher would always say in LA was it's called show business, not show acting, right? It's like you can be the best actor in the world, but if you have no business sense, you'll be doing your monologues for your mother in the living room, which is cool. My mom would be quite entertained by that, honestly. But if you really want to take this on as a career, you do have to understand the business of the business. But you even mentioning something that you said, Ben, about wellness, like these are such emotionally and spiritually challenging times that you also have to get that under control. Because if you're not able to kind of find peace for a moment, for an hour, to focus on, okay, I got to do this self-tape. All right. Because there's so many things, at least that I find, that bombard me on a daily basis and can send me into a spiral. Since this whole year has been trying not to lose my shit, excuse my French, on a daily basis. A few months ago, I was contemplating just getting out of the biz and like going into politics, or I'm really starting. This crisis makes me really challenge. Am I doing what I need to do to be of service to my community, to something beyond myself? Is teaching and acting enough, you know? And I think that a lot of us might be thinking similar thoughts. So my point is, I think, yes, certainly, please think of this as an opportunity to brush up those business skills, but make sure that you're taking care of your spiritual and mental health, because being separated from other people and our families and people that we're used to embracing and touching and being in contact with, for most of us, unless we have a lot of folks living in our kind of bubble, that those opportunities have been missing. And I know that I miss them.
Very much so. I was just going to say, to add to that, you know, the more diversified right now an actor can be, like David said, you know, with screenwriting and that sort of thing, I think the better that they can keep themselves active. Yes, actors are so about the craft and they're so passionate, and it's wonderful, and that's what makes them actors and that's what makes them good. But right now, because there's not a lot of opportunities happening, as we all have seen in the past, I think the more tools that you put in your toolbox as an actor, with the skills that you can bring to the table, I think make you more desirable, make you more hireable, in a sense that, you know, we've got home shoots that are happening where clients drop the equipment off and show you how to use it, and then you shoot it yourself. And you know, if you're a novice at that sort of thing, you're not going to do as good a job. So if you've got some skills, like all those YouTube channels that you're talking about, you guys, and take the time to watch those and develop some skills that help you to feel like you're still involved in your craft, even though it's not exactly what you intended, but you broaden yourself and you diversify. I mean, both of you guys are actors, but you're not just settling. Settling is not the right word. You're not just acting. You have found things about this industry that you love and you are passionate about that help fuel your desire for acting, but they also fill in the blanks. They fill in the empty times. And you mentioned, you know, how in the Northwest we kind of can be a little lackadaisical. Well, it's a part-time market. I mean, most actors are not paying their bills with their acting gigs, and like you said, David, there, you know, there's not theater happening to fill in the blanks either. So how are we going to diversify? How are we going to still be able to do the thing that we love, acting, when there's just not as much opportunity? Well, that's becoming better at other things, and like I said, filling your toolbox full of other skills that you can put together. So use your business, it's show business, and use that business head to make you more of a complete actor, a more complete entity in this industry. And you'll find yourself, I think, being a more successful, happier person, because you're not dying on the vine for that callback. You are working another project. You got something else that you like doing that all fills that creative need.
I've got something else to add. I guess one more thing. It's similarly been with this idea of business, actor business, but also creativity and writing. Like, one of the things actors need for, you know, theatrical stuff is, we all talk about, you know, I want a demo reel. I need a demo reel, right? I need clips for my reel. Oh my God, I did a project a year ago and they haven't given me my clips. It's the whole, like, we hear it all the time. I can't get my footage, whatever. And that's why Angela and I are always talking about the Seattle 48-hour film project. And if you learn how to write a little bit, you can write a 2-3 page scene. It doesn't have to be a complete short film, but like right now, people are working. They are getting themselves on sets. People are filming things, sometimes safely, sometimes not. I don't know. People are out there making stuff. I'm very hesitant about hopping back onto a film set, especially like a non-union one would be, I don't know. Like, I know that the union, SAG-AFTRA, has all kinds of things in place to make, you got to check a lot of boxes and have a lot of health screening and all that kind of stuff. But non-union sets for me are a bit dicier. But if you're doing nothing and you got a couple friends, write something, practice something, put something, you know, you can film something on an iPhone. You can learn a bit about lighting. You can learn a little bit about audio. It might be of a good enough quality to put on your reel. I don't know. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into filmmaking other than get a couple buddies and get your iPhone going. But you might as well start taking your career into your own hands a bit more. And this might be a time to focus on that as well. You can't just wait around for your agent to call all the time. You got to do some hustling yourself.
Amen. Amen. And I think you're both speaking to a really solid point, which is, all this DIY culture. It's going there. It's been going there, and all these little facets of the entertainment industry or filmmaking, whether it's writing, directing, lighting, sound, every piece of that you learn is still going to add value to your acting work. It's more tools in your tool belt. It's pretty much quoting you there, Terri. But right now, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I think, in the midst of all that's going on, when I'm thinking about learning something new, I don't know. I barely have enough energy to sustain. Like, I'm barely holding it together on some days, like you said, David. I'm like, but where do we find that little extra, oh, I should learn this, I should watch that YouTube. How have you been doing that, David? How have you been pushing yourself forward?
Well, I have I have a very supportive partner, which is very nice and very, very helpful. But yeah, it's tricky. I mean, having to learn new things to take the business online, like we had to learn about Zoom, and there's even parts about my business. We're setting up virtual courses where there's no live instructor at all, right? So people from all over the world potentially could take a virtual class, purchase on our website, and just get some education. But that workflow, that whole figuring out how to do it and make sure it's not broken. Like, I'm dealing with a customer right now through email, is like, hey, I'm taking your online class and something's not working. And I'm just like, ha! Right? That's like the worst nightmare. I'm like, okay, well, let me call my tech support team. That's me. I'm the tech support team. I don't got any people that work for me. So if I don't know how to figure it out, then I'm just like, oh God, what do I do? So yeah, it's sometimes it's just you do it because there's no other choice. At this point, it's it's kind of adapt or the business dies. If we don't adapt, I can't pay rent on this studio. So as much as there are some days where I'm, not in the best of moods because my heart is heavy or my brain is going in 1,000 directions because there are very challenging things going on. I have to do these things or I can't support myself. I can't keep the studio here. So if you can find, it's kind of like with acting, you have to find the magic and the satisfaction in the process, not in the booking. Because y'all gonna be auditioning and in the room and self-taping a whole lot more than you're booking, right? Because there's so many actors, there's a lot of competition. But if you can find joy in the process of learning something new and not getting down on yourself, and then reaching out and asking for support when you need it, that'll help.
Yeah, I think that's a solid point. Give yourself a little bit of grace. I know as talent, we tend to be very hard on ourselves, and there are going to be days where you can't get out of bed. So forgive yourself, stay in bed, watch some good movies, and let the day go by.
or surf YouTube.
Yeah,
yes. Find some things that inspire you to get out of bed.
Watch the lighting videos or the directing videos.
Yeah.
David, you spoke to this a little bit about, well, you both have. We've kind of lost our community, right? We don't have any networking events. We don't have any ways to just communicate en masse like we used to. And granted, we're starting to get back up to speed and kind of figure out this new reality. But do you guys have any suggestions, or have you seen any acting groups out there? Anybody that's kind of coming together online and working on the craft together?
In my opinion, I think it's social media is a blessing and a curse. I mean, there's some great conversation that happens on social media, and then there's things where I feel like, oh my goodness, please, you're just starting to rant on something. So I think finding finding people that you trust and value to share ideas with, and you know, stay up on that with other people. But don't get so wrapped up. And I mean, you know, David, you were just saying before about finding that piece of you that wants you to get out of bed, and you know, finding the positive in every day, I think, is really huge in order to just move on, just to move on.
Amen.
I think it, yeah, Zoom is free, right? Zoom's free for everybody. Can you get into a Zoom room though? I was thinking like how you could connect through Zoom with more than one person. I don't think you can do that unless you're paying for an account, but you can, an actor could get on Zoom with a friend and you guys could read a scene together. You could talk about the craft, you could do a monologue for each other, and at the same time, you could be testing your space for how's the Wi-Fi signal in here when that callback comes in, how's the connection. You're gonna find out if your signal is strong, if you're cutting out or not. And also you can just practice working with each other, because one thing that's tricky about these Zoom auditions is like the idea of eye lines, right? We know where we've been trained, oh my God, but look at the camera when you're slating. Don't look at the camera unless you're doing a commercial read when you're doing your commercial stuff, right? But on my laptop, my lens on my camera is so tiny I can barely see it. So I'm like, okay, there it is. So you want to start practicing, like, what am I doing with my eye lines when I'm talking to my scene partner, right? I can't put them over here because then you can't really see my face anymore. Do I put stuff down here? Do I look at my scene partner? If I'm looking at Ben, what does that look like for somebody who's auditing my video? Do they lose my eyes or do they still see them? Should I put my scene partner somewhere else? And these are all things you have to practice because everybody's device is going to be a bit different. If you're zooming on a tablet versus a phone versus your laptop or your desktop, all of those little experiences and that kind of, it's just going to be different. So actors need to practice. What else can actors do? I don't know. I mean, we're still doing acting classes, which I think is a nice way for people to connect. And this one that we're running now is different than our Self-Tape Academy because actors are actually doing audition simulation live. So we're all able to watch each other's work and support it and celebrate it. And I think that for some folks, just getting on a Zoom class once a week for a couple hours with other actors and with some teachers who are supportive and offer a very nurturing environment, I think that can be very nice. But I'm also promoting my own business, so that's good for me. But there are tons of acting classes out there, I think, virtually where actors. And here's the other thing is that because we're all on Zoom now, you can probably Zoom with acting teachers all over the world. So you have access to a much larger pool of instructors who have now, to use the zeitgeist word, we've all done the pivot thing. So everybody has pivoted and everybody is now teaching acting online. So go take an acting class with someone who's virtually training in New York. There's stuff all over the place. Just keep training.
Agreed. Completely agreed. There's not a whole bunch else you can do right now. And when things kick back in, the people, it's just like we were talking earlier about, the actors that learned how to self-tape early on, 2012. They are much more adept at doing it now, and they've got a leg up when it comes to that. So if other actors right now are studying and building their crafts and building their resumes and getting better at what they do, they're going to be a heads up from anybody else that's just sitting around going, oh my gosh, I'm not getting any auditions. It's like, okay, no, nobody is. So do what you can to become better.
So I am an actor that just started in 2018 and 2019, and I got a couple jobs, and now I'm ready to advance my career right in the midst of COVID, and I want to get an agent. I want to get representation. How do I do that, Terri?
We are doing Zoom auditions, and actually we picked up several people through this COVID time. It's not a time I would suggest that an actor in this market decide that they want to pick up and move to another one. because they are just as much shut down in California as, if not more so than we are here. And back to what we've been talking about, it's a perfect time to build your craft, to learn how to become a better actor. But we're certainly auditioning and looking for people. As Jodi said, work is starting and it's picking up, and it's very, very busy right now. Don't everybody go out and think, oh my God, there's a ton of work out there and I'm not getting calls. Again, it's very specific because of the times that we're in. Like I said earlier, it's, families, people that live together that are being cast a lot of, if there's going to be multiple people on set. There's also, a huge trend towards lots of diversity on film and for TV. So it's specific. I mean, it is very specific. There are in my opinion, I think there are very few jobs that are happening where it is as normal as it used to be. Everything has just a little bit of a tweak to it, just something that's just a little bit different than what we've ever done, including the rates, how you audition for it, what it's going to be like on set, who's going to be filming it, where it's going to be, are you going to be in studio, are you going to be outside? I mean, there's nothing standard right now. So that actor that just started the past couple of years, he's got to adjust, and he's got to spend the time getting better, because guys like you and that have been in the industry for a long time, you make everybody's job easier because you understand lighting, you understand how to film it, you understand what it takes to get the job done. And I think all the clients are trying to just get it done, get everybody in, get everybody out, make sure everyone's safe, and let's move on to the next thing. So walking a brand new actor through a job right now is probably going to be slim and none, my opinion.
So David, as you heard, I started in 2018, got a couple jobs in 2019. I got an audition with Terri, and she's agreed to represent me, but she keeps mentioning I should take some classes at Mighty Tripod Studio. And I'm just, as a new actor, like, what classes should I be looking for, and how do I get to your selection of classes?
It's a good question. Right now, what I would have suggested earlier in this year, I'd say, hey, you're going to come take an in-person class. We have a progression of courses. We start with basically audition techniques and the business of the business. That's where folks, if you can't audition well, and you're going to learn so much about the craft of acting just by auditioning, right? It is acting. There are some adjustments you need to make. It's not quite like being on set. An actor for on camera is much different than an actor on stage. There's a lot of different things, different kind of nuances, a lot of similarities too. But if I would have met you earlier in this year, I'd say, hey, come take camera 1, then do our progression. Come take camera 2. We'll teach you about scene study and how to prepare yourself for being on set and some on-camera techniques. And then come take camera 3. It'll get a little more advanced. We'll start pushing you a bit more. We'll give you more challenging scenes. We'll see where you can go emotionally. We'll start figuring out what exactly is your talent. Because one of the things that we are now kind of pushing here is mastering the craft and discovering your talent. It's really important to know what you do well. Like for me, I show up really well on camera being a bit of an a-hole, but I didn't know that at the beginning of my career. I didn't know. But for whatever reason, hey, those kind of guys, those kind of characters look good on me, even though in real life, I think I'm pretty nice most of the time. So for right now, though, I would say on our website, mightytripod.com, you can either go to mightytripod.com/events, and that would bring up all of our classes right now. In September, we'll be offering our Self-Tape Academy, which is virtual, Zoom instruction, connections. You're sending stuff to us. We're giving you critique. Coach's Corner, you get one-on-one Zoom time with myself or with Angela. So we'll be able to talk to you about your performance. We get to talk to you about your space. The Self-Tape Academy, I think, is really, really amazing because of not only the Zoom interaction on a weekly basis, but these one-on-ones with myself and Angela. And then other than that, right now, I think the auditioning class that we're doing right now, I think is actually really, really powerful. and it's going to be slightly different than the academy. But I think those two courses, that's what we're going to be offering until we can get back in the studio, which is certainly where I would rather be teaching. As much as I like, and I think there's a lot of benefit to Zoom instruction, I'm kind of over it, y'all. It'll continue. It's going to continue because there are some people that just can't take an in-person class, or they're a little bit too far away, or they need some private coaching. Zoom is great for that, but I'd much rather do that 20% of the time, and 80% of the time I want to be here. I want to be with the people in this beautiful new space, and I'm just can't wait till we're there again.
Well, when you reach out and take a Mighty Tripod class, I want you to email David and ask him about one of the first things a DP said to him in LA. And you get that Easter egg if you reach out to Mighty Tripod Studios. Thank you, both of you, for giving up an hour to give some insight to actors. Closing thoughts, 1 minute or less. You want to go, Terri? Anything.
Anything. I guess the biggest thing I'd like to just say to everybody right now is that we just need to be patient. We need to be understanding, and we need to be hopeful. We're not done. This industry's not done. We're just taking a crazy little side step to the left, and we're going to get back on track. But nobody's got a crystal ball yet to know how soon that's going to be. And we just all need to adjust and keep our heads above water and be pleasant about it, and do what you can do, because there's not a lot right now that any of us can control. So what we can control is how we look at things and what we do to make ourselves better. So I just would encourage everybody to do that and be thinking, just positive thoughts moving forward.
Awesome. Thanks, Terri. Can you bring in my young man here? Oh, that's not her, but that's our dog, Bruno. He's that's the boy, Angela, of course. I would say closing thoughts would be keep washing your hands, mask up. This is a time to, as much as possible, connect with the people you love the most. These are really scary times, and I think the lesson that I'm continuing to learn is don't take anything for granted, because I know that I've talked to and worked with a lot of people who have gotten quite sick. I think we all have connections, or we've heard stories of people who have died, right? 160,000 and climbing in the United States. And definitely stay on your craft, keep working on that actor business, get a good headshot, get your reel together, work on your self-tapes. All those things are super duper important. But right now, don't forget how connected you can connect as much as you can with the people that you care about the most, because now is not the time to think that anything is guaranteed. The industry is going to come back and we're all going to be stronger than ever. Whatever, just connect with the people you love. We're going to get back to something that looks like normal. And I certainly can't wait to have you in our acting studio so we can teach you not only how to be a better actor, but how to be a more alive human being. Because whether or not you ever book an acting job, if you study the craft of acting, you will become a more connected person, a better communicator, more empathetic, and more understanding of what's going on with yourself and humanity.
Bravo.
You almost got my fourth amen of the day.
I'm trying.
Session. And to that point, my closing thought, which is inspired by both of you guys, is exactly what David just said. What we as actors, our job is to give an authentic voice to the world that resonates to other human beings. They can feel circumstances that we're portraying. And we as an artistic community have been plopped into a once in a lifetime thing. Once in a generation, 2 generations, 100 years, I don't know. But the point is there's so much opportunity for self-growth. And if we can grow, not just within ourselves, but with our community, we're going to come out of this not just helping our family and friends, but your voice as an actor will improve also. So run with those thoughts and use those in the darkest moments, because right now we need a little bit of light. I love you guys. Thank you for being on the episode. We'll see you all next week for episode 18, where we're bringing in 4 people from the Spokane Film Project. And we're going to find out what's going on the east side of the mountains. And last but not least, stay tuned. September 1st, we are announcing the 2020 Seattle Film Summit schedule. September 1st.
Yay.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Okay. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Everybody be safe.
All right. Todd, which